This student says, thank you for the course. I hope you're doing well. I purchased your course. I'm currently going through the modules, and I must say it's already made a noticeable difference, especially in my writing. And you can read the rest of this review right here. Now, this student had a writing boost. How and why? We'll discuss that in today's video using a sample answer that one of our students submitted. We're going to break it down, see what we need to do to improve, and especially this is important for you because when you are practicing at home, you need to look at all these things that I'm going to look at right now with this writing. So by the end of it, this writing, this raw version is going to completely transform and become a big, beautiful version that gives you a big, beautiful CLB score. So stick till the end of this video because everything I'm going to teach you here is super important. This is a sample question for task 1. You live in a house near a park. Recently, a lot of teenagers have been meeting in the park at night. They're very noisy. Okay, that's your situation. You got 3 bullet points. Number 1, provide information about where you live. Number 2, explain the problem. And number 3, suggest a way to solve the problem. This is a very typical CELPIP question structure. Explain the problem, give solutions. These 2 bullet points usually are always together. Now, here is the start. Right away, I don't like to whom it may concern. CELPIP wants you to be more personal. So who are we writing to? It says, write an email to the local government. So I don't know who it is going to be in the government, but we can assume, Dear Mr. Alexander. We're assuming we know this person. You could also pick a title, Dear Minister. I'm not sure how you would address government officials. So if I'm in doubt, I would simply put Dear Mr. or Miss and put a name. And that's more personal than to whom it may concern. So mistake number 1, we got rid of that. Guys, I'm giving away our free access to our CELPIP computerized mock tests interface covering all 4 modules. Instant scoring as well. All you gotta do is comment down below. Lucky winners will be chosen and granted free access to this training. Mistake number 2 is the ending salutation. We should not say something as brief as regards. You should say yours truly or yours sincerely because regards is more semi-formal and sometimes even informal. Okay, now let's look at the word count. We have approximately, you don't see it on the screen, but 203 words, but it's actually 198 words because I made some changes here. So it's 198, that's good. You should always aim for 180 to 190, that's the soft spot. But if you exceed 200, you can exceed it up to 210, not more, certainly. Now, if I see this overall structure, one problem that I see immediately is a very big intro. And the body paragraphs are not balanced. So there are some good things and bad things here. We'll look at that. Conclusion is good though. 1 sentence, that's fine. The intro should not be this long. It should just have the purpose and nothing extra, no extra details. Let's see what the student said. The objective of writing. So there are some grammar issues here. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Of my writing this email, you don't have to say all of that. Just say of my writing today is That's it. Writing this email, it's repetitive, is to give you some insights of issues that I have been facing at night due to some teenagers meeting at the park late night, which causes disturbance within the community. Instead of saying all of that, you can just say the objective of my writing today is to lodge a complaint regarding a noise problem we're having in our community. That's it. You are not supposed to give all the details here. Number 1, it eats up your words. Number 2, if you're giving too many details here, you would have less things left for the body paragraphs. So I would conserve my words here and save them for later. The second problem I was mentioning is this body is very few words, but you see bodies 2 and 3, they have a lot more words. Bodies should typically be balanced. So what is the problem with this body? Let's have a look. It says, firstly, to let you know, I reside at this place. Connected to that, there is a community park on backyard of the townhouse. So he is mentioning where he is living. Okay. The question says, provide information about where you live. So this is exactly the answer. Task response-wise, this is perfect. Can I add something else? I probably can. I can probably point out my area is next to this area or more details about where you can find my area, but I don't need to. In these kinds of questions, where you live, give the date and time, or what time did your family come to the restaurant. These are very brief details, and we typically don't need a lot of sentences for this one. So this is an exception, and here having a small body is fine. You can have a small body here, but then the problems and solutions paragraph, problem and solution, these are going to be longer. So this is okay. Initially, it looks like a problem, but it's not really a problem. Now, you see all the red here, and it's all grammatical mistakes. This is a huge problem. Grammar doesn't mean major mistakes. So if I have this problem and I have to fix that, it's not going to give me a loss of 1 mark. But having all of these in quantity can lead to a huge loss of marks. What you want to do at home is download Grammarly. That's what I have downloaded here. When you look over these mistakes, it tells you exactly what you need to correct. And it's not always accurate 100%, but it's 70 to 80% accurate according to my own personal analysis. But it will tell you at least 70 to 80% of your mistakes, and to correct the rest of them, you can definitely reach out to HZad Education. We provide free feedback via email. For now, I've turned off Grammarly just so we can see the screen clearly. Now, when we look at the flow, this is a major thing which is going to give you marks for your coherence and structure. Let's have a look at the flow. So we start with the intro, the objective, and that's good. Then we have firstly, secondly, lastly. Firstly is okay. It's not my favorite word. I mean, I would say something like to begin with, but okay, you want to say it, that's fine. Just don't say secondly and lastly, because number one, it's really common to have firstly, secondly, lastly. Number two, it's the same type of connector, like the ly, and it's one worded, which means you're not giving the examiner enough variety. So here's one simple solution. I know this is problems, and these are the solutions. I could simply go here and say nevertheless, just to be more advanced and know that this is a change in tone. And in this case, I'm going to say something like, with regard to the aforementioned problems, and then I would state my problems. It's aforementioned because I mentioned it in my objective for writing this email. And this again links really well to what I said earlier. Nevertheless links really well to what I said earlier, because now I'm showing the examiner I'm changing my tone. I could also say in contrast or on the other hand. Okay, so now I'm a little different. I have more variety. I also have to look at the flow within the paragraphs. Let's have a look. The issue is that the teens that meet up late at night cause a lot of nuisance. It should be nuisance, not nuisance. There's lots of grammar mistakes here with the using of speakers, with the use of speakers and talking loudly. On top of that, that's good actually, because we have one problem, and on top of that we have this other problem. That's nice. I wake up at 5:30 a.m. every day to go to work. Because of those kids, I'm unable to sleep effectively. So this flow was good, nicely done, which is hampering my performance at work. This is also good because it further defines this is the problem and this is what it does. Whenever you explain why and how, it really helps your explanations. I would put a semicolon or maybe make a new sentence here because this is a different idea. I would probably do a new sentence here because I wake up here and because of those kids, I'm unable to sleep. That's two different concepts. They can be said in the same sentence. Maybe if you say, on top of that, considering I have to wake up this early, I am unable to sleep effectively due to the noise disturbance. You would have to mix it up a little to make it grammatically correct. Now, nevertheless, and we're changing tone, I did try speaking to those group of teenagers and requesting them to minimize the noise, but it didn't make any sense. Now, this is vague. What do you mean? Didn't make any sense. I mean, did they not listen to you? Or the way you said it didn't make any sense? This I would definitely remove. If there's any phrase or sentence that is not explained or unclear, get rid of it immediately. Change it when you're proofreading because the examiners want clarity. Now it says, however, I request that, no comment for that, if we implement some rules and regulations like post, don't be like or maybe, perhaps, don't say that. Say definitive words. We should definitely implement or we should surely implement. So don't have those likes. It even looks like a filler word. Not allowed in the park, which will be a great initiative for the whole community. Okay, so the problem is I said nevertheless. Then there's a however. You cannot have two contradictory sentences one after the other. So what I need to do is not really fix the connector, but actually eliminate this whole sentence. And what I'm doing here is I am looking at my task response. See, this sentence was, I did try speaking to them and it didn't make sense, but the examiner never asked you anything about that. The examiner said, suggest a way to solve the problem. So suggest the way and explain why that way will be beneficial. This is a general sentence, and we have a tendency to do extra sentences which don't give us marks and just eat up our words. Instead, focus on the bullet point, focus on the problem, stay at it, and explain it in more detail. It'll give you a lot more marks. So that's a little problem in task response, as well as clarity and flow in this paragraph that we need to fix. Thank you for your cooperation in this matter. A little comma here, and your thoughtful assistance will be appreciated. I like this. It's not very generic or common, and it has good words. It wraps it up in one sentence, so that's good. However, with all these mistakes, this student is not scoring more than a CLB 6. However, once you fix those mistakes, add in those fancy words, structure, clarity, tone, flow, you get good marks. The one thing I haven't mentioned here in detail is how to improve vocabulary and make even more complex sentences. The reason being, the main focus you should always have is fixing these primary mistakes. Once you fix those, everything that I've mentioned today, you are going to score more than a 10 to 12 in CELPIP. After that, you want to, of course, advance your vocab for even better chances. A lot of these vocab marks come automatically once you have a range of connectors, you have well-defined descriptive thoughts and ideas using adjectives and verbs. So you in some way get that vocab mark, but to further upgrade it to 11 or 12, you need more complex vocab. That lesson is coming up next week. So please subscribe if you haven't already. Talk to you very soon.